What's up? It's Tom from Plain White Tees hanging out on the Anthony Rogers Show.
You are now listening to the best show in the universe, The Anthony Rogers Show. You probably wish that this was your show, but it's not. It's The Anthony Rogers Show. Tell all of your friends to listen to this show.
This episode is sponsored by Dr. Hemp. Go to Dr. Hemp Supply, it's hempsupply.com. You get some palm pre-rolls. This is CBD and CBG. You have mint flavors, banana flavors, berry flavors, watermelon, pine. Just try them all. Go to drhempsupply.com. Use promo code BESTSHOW.
Oh yeah, before I forget, go to glitchenergy.com, use promo code BESTSHOW, get 25% off Glitch Energy, and stay in the zone when you're playing video games. Bam.
Welcome back to the greatest show in the universe. Today we have a huge guest from an even bigger band. He shouldn't have done this show. His agent should have told him no. But Tom Higgenson from the Plain White Tees. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Your agent's going to be pissed after doing this show. They'll be like, you're going backwards. You're going.
Yeah, I went rogue on this one. I went rogue. You asked me, and I'm like, well, should I check with anybody? Nah, I'll just do it. Who gives a shit?
Well, it's awesome, man. Like, I fucking love your band, dude. Honestly, like, I liked it for a while now. It was like, I'd say I'm 35 now. Probably liked it for about 10 years or so, man. You do some good shit, man. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, dude. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Like,
I try. I try.
Well, it finally paid off. You got a compliment. After filling arenas forever, you finally got. That's awesome.
Yeah, this was the real validation that I needed. So thank you so much.
Well, congratulations, you made it. Welcome to the top. But no, seriously, man. Like, how did you start? How did you start out in music? Kind of cheesy question. I like asking rock stars. Like, how did you kind of start out in music? I guess, like popular music. I guess, like.
No, I love that question. So I was always like growing up, like. Of course, like I'm sure you love music as a kid as well, but I just always I always loved it. Like, I feel like more than like my friends or more than other people, like probably to a weird obsessive place, And when I was in 8th grade, I started writing songs. Like I was like, I would write like back then it was like, Crisscross and shit was on the radio, And so I would buy the cassette tape singles, and they'd always come with an instrumental of the song. And so I would just sit with the instrumental and I'd write my own songs to them. And so then in freshman year, I I started actually playing drums was my first instrument. I got a drum kit for Christmas and just kind of sat downstairs every day on my drum set and just listened to records, listened to like Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Weezer records, and just sat there and just figured it out and played along with them until I could actually, get through a full album pretty easy. And then I started playing guitar. I actually, funny story, a buddy of mine left his guitar at my house. I actually had a bass, a shitty bass. And we traded because he was going to learn how to play bass. And so he as collateral left me his Fender Stratocaster. And I shit you not, like a week later, his family moved. So he moved away with my literally like $77 bass. And I had his Fender Stratocaster. So I'm like, cool, I guess I'm going to learn how to play guitar. And so then I taught myself guitar, and all my buddies were, kind of into music. So everybody, it's kind of the thing to do. You're a freshman, sophomore in high school. You learn how to play guitar. You're trying to pick up chicks or something. So it's like you got to learn some chords. So me and my buddies we just kind of would come in my basement and jam every night after school, every day after school. We would just jam. I'd play drums, I'd play guitar. We just had we'd cover just alternative rock songs. And then when high school was ending, basically I started, writing songs that I guess my friends thought were cool enough to perform on our own, as a band. And so that's when Plain White Tees started.
That's awesome. And you gave me chills when you talked about how you got your guitar. That's just as the universe, just like it's just supposed to be sometimes, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was so random. And dude, the kid would it wasn't even a goodbye. Literally went to school the next day and it was like, oh yeah, his name was Derek Maitland. Yeah, I think the teacher told us yeah, Derek's family moved, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, I guess I just kind of inherited a Fender Stratocaster. Cool.
That's so crazy, man, to think about, like how that would have been different if anything else happened. You know, if you're like, it's kind of crazy to think about. Like
Totally.
It's definitely the universe, man. Like, what was like? This is kind of a cheesy question, but I love this. I love the answers. Like, why the questions are dumb, but I love the answers. But like, what was like your like I made it moment for like the Plain White T's? Like, what like when you finally saw like something, you're like, wow, I guess I have a band, you know, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
You know?
Dude. Well, it was so the back when we started, it was 1997, and Delilah was huge on the radio in 2007. So it literally was like a 10-year. Like a very slow climb, and then all of a sudden we shot up, But so I would say, through that 10 years, there were little wins. It was like, oh, we just, we sold this show, this like, shitty little venue in Iowa is sold out, 180 tickets or something. But last time we were here, we only sold, 90 tickets. There was like the little things like that where along the way, we're getting, bigger bands are taking us out on tour because they like our album or whatever, There was all those little, like, little victories, I guess, along the way. But, like, I would say the one, like, there was definitely a couple little moments in there. But I think what to answer your question, the best one would be we were playing, where are you at again? You're Midwest, right?
Yeah. I'm St. Louis to save time. Like around St. Louis. Okay,
so do you know the Milwaukee Summerfest? Do you ever get up there at all?
I've heard of it. I have not been, but I've heard of that. Definitely.
So we're Chicago, so that's like an hour and a half away from us. So no, it was a big deal. Like every year around the 4th of July, ever since I was a kid. I mean, they've probably been doing this since the 70s or something. But they do this thing, Milwaukee Summerfest, and it's like a week-long thing where they have bands and they have like almost like a mini festival back before there were like, Lollapaloozas and Coachellas and stuff. Milwaukee was the pioneers of it all, I guess. But they did, all these little stages. And we would play there coming up. We'd play on some shitty little side stage and there'd be, 200 kids out there and it would be super fun. It was awesome. And so there was the summer that Delilah was kind of starting to get played on the radio. We were booked for Milwaukee Summerfest, and I think we got like bumped up to like a bigger stage because the song, it was kind of some momentum happening for us.
Awesome.
So we were on like a bigger stage, and we kind of we got there early. We did our sound check to like an empty, no crowd or anything, and then we literally were sitting backstage for the next, 4 or 5 hours, like you do every day, like Groundhog Day on tour, tour life. And then we came out, we were obviously the headlining band on the stage that night. And so, 9:30 rolls around, whenever our set time is, and we roll out onto the stage, and there's literally like 10,000 people. The thing is, it's packed, people as far as you can see. And we all kind of like had this like moment of like, wait, who's playing after us? I thought we were last, like we did. It took a second to click in that like, holy shit, that's like, this is what it means to like have a hit song on the radio. It was wild. Yeah. And so that was like the first moment of like, where we all kind of looked at each other and like, holy shit, dudes, like this is happening. This is real. So that was definitely one of those, memorable, like, wow, we did it kind of moments for sure. I mean, going to the Grammys obviously was a big deal. We were like, seated right across the aisle from Ringo Starr, like there was definitely some surreal moments in there. But yeah, for some reason that Milwaukee Summerfest was like, wow, we did it.
I wonder if that's how it is for like all musicians, like how you just described the Ringo Starr thing. Like it was like someone was like that for him, like Elvis was like that for him potentially, or so. I'm just making shit up, but like someone like that. And like, but totally. And there's people like that now probably. They're like, oh my god, like that. Like you become that probably by being a successful musician now. There's probably people are like that, like people aspiring to be musicians today, looking to your band and like. Your band's single, that Delilah song, Hey There Delilah, like that, that didn't get cheesy. Like a lot of bands, like they have like a single blow up so much. That song never got cheesy. I feel like it was just like a good song still. Like if you play that, I mean, you can play that in a bar right now. You'd have everybody sing along to it if they're a certain age. It's like you wrote something that's like kind of timeless, really.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's so funny. Like through the years, like you're saying, like the song kind of never goes away. It seems to always like show up. Like it's probably trending right now on TikTok or something, because it's like, I feel like, yeah, maybe it is just that timeless vibe, whatever I tapped into, you know.
Yeah,
God, I wish I could do that every time, you know, but
that's what I hear everybody say.
Yeah, I feel like kids hear that song now, and maybe because it is just like a stripped down, you know, acoustic and a vocal, like it doesn't sound like, was this from the 60s? Was this from the 80s? Was this from the 2000s? Was this right now? You kind of can't tell, I guess. So I feel like kids hear it now and it still feels as authentic, I guess, as it did back then.
Yeah, it does sound like a real song. That's interesting. The authenticity you brought up is a good point too. I mean, Juice WRLD covered this song. I mean, that's like that's huge. I'm not like a big Juice WRLD fan, but he's a huge rapper in like that scene.
Oh,
You know, it's
totally.
like that's like a big, like, you know, it's not like my, you know what I mean, but that's a huge thing too. It's like I don't know, man. That's crazy. Like the multiple generations
crossed
enjoying.
over culturally and everything. Yeah.
That's crazy. Congrats on your success outside that too. I know you have success like more, but that's a song everybody knows. I think, you know, it's just one of those songs that
For sure, man.
It's like some of the songs you'll have like certain percentages will know. You know, I mean, it's like, but that's pop culture now. I mean, you're like in pop culture now with that song. I think, man. You know.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you. Yeah, craziness.
That is crazy to think about. Like, so you're a Cubs fan, right?
Oh yeah.
So, I'm sorry to hear about that, man. Like,
Well, no, I think we beat you guys yesterday pretty bad.
I know I saw that right before the interview. I saw on your page that you're like, oh, who's gonna win today? And I like remembered the score yesterday. Yeah, it was
Yeah, but I mean, we that came out of like a 11-game losing streak or something. So
yeah, we have 10 more. We have 10 more World Series though.
Yeah, well, yeah. You can rub it in.
I just fuck with you, man. It's the basic rivalry. I have to talk shit. It's like it's in me, man. Like, but so what was the best part of like being a rock star? Like, what would you say? Like, what would you tell somebody that like they're thinking about being a rock star going to college? Like, don't give advice on school, but what was the best part of like being a rock star, man? Like,
well, I mean, dude, it's just. This is again. You're probably wanting like some you know, scandalous, crazy answer, but honestly,
it's a true one. Yeah, just a true.
Like,
it's real
yeah,
you,
honestly, you know? Like to be able to do something that you love, you know, like, and make a living out of it. I mean, dude, that's the dream. That's why people are like, you know, it's like everybody wants to be a rock star, but they don't, you know, it's not the safest, you know, life plan for sure. It's, you know, that's why it's like a 1 in a million shot of making it, or everybody wants to be an artist or a movie star or whatever it is. But, you know, not everybody, I guess, is able to really follow their heart and really commit 100% to doing that. You know, for whatever reason, there's a million reasons not to, I guess. But for me, I guess I just never, I don't know. The band always would like tease me as being like the eternal optimist. Like we would literally like there were so many moments where we probably should have, you know, thrown in the towel. Like all of our gear got stolen on this one tour, and we had to like go on borrowing like the other band's shit to like finish the tour, and then like ask our fans like, hey, does anybody like have, you know, any allowance to donate to us so we can like buy new gear, like, you know. Like a lot of really huge obstacles, but I was always like, oh guys, this is like, not like, of course it wasn't cool that we got our equipment stolen, but it was like, oh, we'll figure it out. You know, like we got to keep going because, you know, because we have to. It was just like something in me, like driving me. And I never once questioned it or like even once would have like accepted failure as like an option. You know, it was just like, even though we had plenty of failures, it was like, no, you just got to keep going, and we're gonna make it, you know. So yeah. So to answer your question, anybody that's like debating whether you want to go to college or be a rock star, I mean, I guess it's like a question for yourself. I think I don't think anybody accidentally became a rock star, you know. Like I always joke with I've got obviously all my friends and stuff are like music guys and everything, but I'm always tell them like, you know, Kurt Cobain, I use as an example, like the tortured artist, right? Who like, it seems like Kurt Cobain like happened into it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's like just happens to be the biggest band in the world, and you know, and he was the tortured artist and he hated the fame and everything, which I'm sure came along with it. But dude, that fucking guy worked his ass off to get there. He wanted to be the biggest band in the world. He showed up for those music videos and he fucking performed, and he fucking, you know, it was no accident that Nirvana was huge, you know? So I guess the point is I don't think, I think if you really want to, and again, whether it's be a musician, be an artist of any kind, you know, it's like you have to know it to like an extent where no one can no one can tell you no, or no one can talk you out of it. Or I should say, you won't listen to any no's, because a lot of people will tell you no, but you know differently, you know? So I guess if you're having to decide, here's the funny answer. I'm flipping my answer now. I guess if it's even a question in your mind, go to college, because you don't believe in yourself enough. And I think if you don't believe 100% and you're not sure, then you probably won't make it, you know, because I really do think it takes every ounce of you to, you know, to get there, I guess. Does that make sense?
No, it's that's super honest answer. No, I think that was very honest. I think I hear from a lot of people getting into art in general like that what do you say, that it took like 10 years to go there, the focus, and when you say you're blind to optimism or whatever however you phrased it, I think that like I think that's probably your thing. That was like you're talented and stuff. To get talented, you almost have to do all those things. You know, it's like you have to develop it. From my perspective, I think most of the people I hear put in their 10 years about that, if they last anyway. I mean, you have flukes and stuff. A lot of those guys, I hear that they work their ass off. Like you said, Cobain, like he would call radio stations requesting his song. He would sleep on couches. He fucking fought for it too. The same way we all had to in whatever degree we're doing, you know, in any kind of art, really. Like any
Absolutely.
kind of, like the comedy hustle is very similar to the musician hustle, except for we don't have instruments. Like we have less setup time, you know. But it's the same hustle.
That's good. It's one less thing to learn, right?
Yeah, exactly.
One less thing to go wrong on stage.
Yeah, and you were telling me when your stuff got like taken, dude. I got like a weird sense of like the universe again. Like I think you borrowing other people's instruments gave it a cooler fucking story to do a show with you. It was like from the. You're freaking out, probably trying to repair everything. But the band, like think about that. They're like, yeah, man, the Plain White Tees used my drum set last night. It just adds like story, like glory to their story and their line of like whatever they're doing too. You know, it's like
totally.
It's a cool thing. Like that felt like another thing that was just supposed to fucking happen, no matter how shitty it was. It creates magic sometimes, man. It just sounded like magic there, you know, like that you were able to even tour after that. You didn't give up like so many people would have. So many people would have been like, oh, I'm going back home to my air conditioning and like and whatever else, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I think you hit on a lot of things too, like talking about how like you just kept going for that distance. And I think that's the difference between a successful person and a person that daydreams, really, you know.
Absolutely, man.
And
like you said, it's like, the whole time I think I kind of just realized like, man, this is just all part of the story. Like that was a good way of putting it, you know, and not even thinking that like, oh yeah, that other band, now they've got a story because we, you know, use their gear and, you know, but yeah, it's like, yeah, everybody, the whole, especially the, you know, I'm sure, you know, in the comic scene, but like music scene is so like tight knit, you know. It's like even the guys we used to tour with that never made it half of them are like producers now or A&R guy, you know, industry people. It's like, you know, you kind of get in. Everybody kind of starts as like an artist or a band trying to make it, but like everybody kind of finds their own path, you know. So that's kind of another thing. Going back to your last question, like if you love music or if you love an artistic industry, like you kind of got to go for it. And then even if you don't make it to like, you know, what your dream was or what your initial goal was, you'll kind of find some other path, I believe, you know,
where you're supposed to be. Everybody fits in where you're supposed to be. It's all collaboration related. That's what's interesting about that. Like, same with like whatever this is podcasting. It's like it's just like it's the same thing. It's like I have the luxury of being able to talk to people like you and asking anything. You know, it's like crazy. It's a kind of a crazy like situation. But the work that goes into it, no one sees that. They just kind of see you just like yeah, this band kicks ass, man. But they'll see like the fucking what took it there to, you know, like what kind of. And that's just an interesting kind of thing with like art and just hardworking people, man. I think we got a lot of that, man, right now. It's like it's everywhere. It's like we're so lucky, you know. Like it's like just people, you know.
Oh yeah, man.
It's like crazy. That's too soft, right? I need to make fun of something to compensate for how soft that just got, right? I need to light something on fire or something. No, but who are some people you like looked up to, like in music and stuff like that, as like a kid or something?
I mean, so I'm trying to think. So there was a band, a couple local bands actually, Chicago bands. There's one guy. I don't know, this is kind of insignificant to you. Maybe a lot of people won't know who this band is, but there was like a local band called Loud Lucy from Chicago. And they were on tour when I was in high school, like like Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, you know that album?
Your big album, yeah.
Dude, that album was like blew my mind when I first heard that. Like she was just so like at that time, just so raw and vulnerable. And that's honestly like the album that made me really want to like pursue music. Like I said, I was already kind of writing songs and playing with my buddies, but it was that album that was kind of like, holy shit, like it just struck such a chord, I think in, you know, obviously in millions of people, because it was like a huge, again, pop culture moment for her with that record. But I was definitely really moved by it. And so the tie-in is that there was a Chicago band that got the opening slot for her. And so I ended up seeing them, you know, opening up for Alanis and then following them locally. And the singer was actually this super sweet dude, Christian Lane was his name. And I would like go see his band and I would give him like my shitty ass demo tapes. Like this is even before Plain White T's, when I was just, you know, recording songs in my basement by myself and like just giving them to my friends and shit, you know? And so I would like give him my shitty demos. And then the next time I would go see his band, he would go out of his way to be like, oh, you're the dude that gave me that tape, right? Like, yeah, I listened to it with my dad, man. It was really cool. Like, keep it up, like encouraging me, you know? Yeah. So that was like, I had a few of those moments. There's a band, you ever heard of the band, The Smoking Popes?
No, I haven't actually.
So they're another Chicago band, but they were actually got a lot bigger than Loud Lucy. They were like a national band on a major label and, you know,
okay.
Anyway, they were super sweet dudes too. And I met them at a couple of their shows and they actually came because I would give them flyers and stuff for.
Without sponsors like Hopper John's Beard Company, we just wouldn't exist. And it won't be long until your beard thanks you for buying Hopper John's beard oils and soaps and whatever. I mean, they have so much different stuff. So go to copperjohnsbeard.com. Get some soaps and wash, beard oil, gray beard oil, beard butter, cologne, body butter, soaps and wash, apparel, candles, accessories, gift cards. Just go there, check it out, and try to get a majestic beard like mine.
Plain White T's when we were like a tiny ass local band playing at like the VFW halls around the suburbs. And they like showed up to one of our shows at like a church basement in the suburbs. And everybody, like all of our other friends' bands that we were all like little competition with, you know, to be like the coolest local band, they were all like, holy fuck, dude, the Smoking Popes came to see the Plain White T's. Like it was the biggest deal. So there was like, you know, the little moments that like, you know, in the big picture, not that big deal, but dude, to like a 18-year-old local band, again, trying to figure it out, trying to do whatever it takes to like make it, like those moments were fucking monumental to us, you know?
No, I felt when you said it, like you're pretty real to yourself, man. You're telling like honest stories. I feel like I could like almost feel the magic with the way you're talking about it. Like a goosebumps time. Now I just feel that, man. You're being sincere. This is super cheesy too, but I just want to know, how'd you guys come up with the band name? Like,
yeah, so we especially back in the early days, and I mean, I guess you can still tell with like, you know, song like we were talking about with Hey There Delilah, how it kind of sounds like it could have been written 50 years ago, you know, just the way the presentation of it and everything. But especially when we were starting out, we were super inspired by like oldies, you know, like music from the 50s and 60s. You know, I was kind of like, I was really into like old Motown and then like Boys to Men and stuff. And then along came the alternative, you know, like I was saying, Green Day, Weezer, Nirvana. And so if you kind of Plain White T's, we have like the alternative edge to us, but there's also that kind of timeless vibe. So I kind of feel like our sound was kind of a melding of like the 90s alternative rock and like I said, like the oldies from like the 50s and 60s, you know? So yeah, so Plain White T's was literally like an homage to like, you know, the 50s with like a guy with a leather jacket and a plain, like the Fonz or like James Dean or something, you know?
That's cool. That's cool. I never knew that. I didn't read that anywhere, so I was just wondering. And then like that's cool, man. And so I guess like did a lot of, I don't know, that has me, you have me picturing all that shit. It's crazy. Sorry. That's like you said a lot of shit there. And that's really cool, man. Like so did you like I guess what did you write this song over a period of time, or like was this like just something you sat down and wrote, like the Hey There the Delilah song or whatever?
Yeah,
Hey There Delilah?
that Hey There Delilah was written, I mean, it was so literally, I mean, I'll give you the quick version. I've told the story obviously a million times. I'll give you the quick version. So it's about a real girl named Delilah.
You took her to the Grammys. I read that.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you know she's real. But yeah. I met her in Chicago. She was a friend of a friend. We went to a concert together with another friend, and literally like Delilah had a boyfriend. I was just like, oh my God, she's so freaking pretty. So I was just goofily like, you know, flirting, but like knowing she had a boyfriend. So just being goofy, honestly, you know. And at the end of the day, I gave her our CD that we had out at the time, and because she was going back to school the next day in New York. So literally, that was I met this girl one day, and I think I ended the night as we dropped her off, being like, hey, you know, I've got a song about you, and she kind of looked at me like, okay, and like walked away, right? Like that was my you know, Hail Mary or whatever.
Right.
And so then the next day she went back to school in New York, and we kept in touch on AIM. You remember AIM at all?
I do.
So we kept in touch on AIM, and she ended up really liking the CD that I gave her. And so she was like, started asking me like, so where's that song? Where's, you know, you told me you had a song about me. Where's my song? And literally she was kind of like prompting, or, you know, like asking for it, like wanting me, you know, I don't know, maybe she was probably just playing along as well. But that made me think like, well, shit, I should write the fucking song, you know? And so literally after like, you know, a couple of weeks of just going back and forth with her, I sat down, and no joke, the entire first verse and chorus just like fucking rolled out of my, like I didn't even think about it. It was just like, hey there, Delilah, you know, what's it like in New York City? What rhymes with city? Pretty. You're 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty. You know, it was literally like no thought whatsoever. It just rolled out. And then oh, it's what you do to me, I thought was literally like, oh, I'll think of some real lyrics later. But like, that's just what came out of my mouth. And then like, you know, I made it like a little, like a voice memo or whatever. I don't even think there were voice memos at the time. I probably had my little tape, you know, like tape cassette player to record my idea. And then when I came back to it, like the next day, listened to it, I was like, fuck, this is actually really good. And so then I kind of like took my time writing the rest of the lyrics, because I felt like that first chunk was so strong that it was like almost like, oh fuck, like now the bar is set kind of high. I need to, every other line in the song has got to be as good as those first few, you know? But the problem was, because I didn't really know this girl, that first verse, if you look at it, it's like, okay, that is the real connection. Like, I met you in Chicago. You're in New York City. What's it like out there? We're 1,000 miles away. You know, don't worry about the distance. Give this song another listen. And then from that point on, I was like, well, fuck, that's all I got. Like, I don't know anything else about this girl. I don't know, you know, any other details to put in it. So I wrote the rest of the song basically from like, okay, what like if I was in this relationship with somebody long distance, like being a guy in a band that's trying to make it, it was like, okay, someday I'll pay the bills with this guitar, you know, like stick with me, like we're gonna make it, you know, like I kind of just wrote the rest of the song very hypothetically, like just kind of creating a story like if I was dating somebody in a long distance, like what would I say? What would be the perfect thing to put into the song? But it was really that first verse that was directly inspired and just came out just based on the reality of, you know, just meeting this girl and she was at school in New York, you know.
That's actually what I was asking originally. Is I almost wonder if it was like stream of consciousness. I almost felt that by how you answer your questions and stuff. It probably just came together like that. That's just like, that's what I mean. Like, look at your story, man. It's like you have all this like magic happen. You have a guitar just left to you, and then you have a song. You have like, and then like a bunch of stuff like coincidence happened too. And then you have a song that you write basically like that comes naturally. And this was just meant to be, man. You're just meant to be this person you are. You know, it's like.
Well, the funny thing is though, man, it's like. Yes, 100%, but
you put in a lot of work though.
Yeah, there was like, what about like the, you know, 200 songs that I wrote before Hey There Delilah, or you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's like,
that's
I
what
feel
got
like
you there.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to like, there's this great quote. I don't know who said it, but it really, it struck a chord with me. And I just heard it like recently. I never heard it before, but, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
No, that's real.
That's
real.
fucking genius, because it's like, yeah, of course, as you know, man, so much of what we do is luck. It's like, man, like, you know, you still have to get that lightning in a bottle, 1 in a million shot. But the harder you work and the more you do, the more you write, the more you get on stage, the more you put yourself out there, the closer to those, even being in the room for those opportunities to happen, you know, everything you do gets you like one step closer, I guess.
No, that's so true. And like what, like just even podcasting, man, like just like to get a guy like you on, even on this show, I mean, that's a huge deal for a show like this. You know, it's like, and it's just like, and that happens like fucking, I'm lucky right now. It happens a lot. You know, it's like, no one should say yes to my show at this point, but everyone's so like interesting and big and like whatever else, you know, it's just like a blessing. And I feel like the same way. I work really hard though. Like you said, though, it's like, you have to write those 200 songs to get to your hit, man. You have to do those like 200 episodes, get your hit episodes. You know, it's like, you have to keep doing it no matter what. I think I agree with you 100%. I have the same work ethic. I feel like I'm not as talented in music. Otherwise, I'd be a rock star too. I just sound like shit, you know. It wasn't my choice. Yeah. I'd probably ideally you have the most sought after job in probably fucking America right now. Like to be a lead singer of a rock band. That's like the fucking. I mean, you ask any kid what they want to be in our generation, man. I mean, you're probably a little older, but like we're similar generation. Like to where like that. That's what I mean. You have their job, man. You have the thing that everybody. I mean, you worked for it though. You earned it. It's. You know what I mean, it's like a.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know. I guess I just everybody wants it, right? But why the fuck? Why isn't everybody doing it? I guess it's like, you know, like you kind of touched on earlier. Like, there's a lot of really talented people, and there's a lot of people that can sing way better than me and write way better songs than me if they, you know, put their mind to it or whatever. But like I would say 95% of success is just work and doing it. You know, that's the thing. It's like people they want it, but they're not willing to like we said before, just really dedicate the time and dedicate themselves to doing it.
Because getting results are almost like a double-edged sword. Because I feel the time wasted, but like the reward, I'd always wonder what it was, no matter what. You know, it's like I feel like if I didn't chase this, or like if you didn't, you seem like a similar person. If you didn't chase this, you'd always be like wondering if you could have or would have. You know, you'd be like, man, could I have done that? I feel like I could have. You know, it's like it's one of those things. Like I feel like guys like us would have been chasing. We're in different categories, but we would have been chasing it no matter what. I feel like.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, yeah, it's just like, and I think about that. I'm like, how much time have I wasted just to be able to talk to a guy from the Play My Teaser? To get to a point, to get to a point where you can do this stuff, man. It's like, and like same with like music, I imagine, even more with music. So you're probably practicing way more than I am. As like how many times a day you have to practice to be fucking like.
You'd be surprised. I try to do as little as possible, but no, I'm just kidding. No, practice to me. Is like more of just, instead of practicing, it's more of just trying to write. You know, I'm always making little voice memos. You know, I'm not a super virtuoso guitar player or anything like that. But for me, where I'm, you know, kind of led or driven or whatever, is always in the writing, like the creative process. Like to me, that's something where every day, even if I never touch a guitar, I'll be thinking about that song I started the other day and seeing if there's a tweak that I can make, or a better lyric or something, or a bridge or some shit, or I don't know, just kind of every day there's some kind of, voice memo or whatever in the writing process. So to me, that's my practice. Almost like, I guess,
That's
a painter would, like, even if he's doesn't grab a paintbrush, he's still, probably at some point of his day, he sees something or thinks about a painting he's working on or a painting he's going to do. It's like, I don't know, I guess it's less about mastering your instrument. To me, I'm more interested in just like, just creating, I guess. I don't know. Like, I started in like this last year, I actually started a solo project. My first ever solo music I put out outside of Plain White Tees. And it's called Million Miler. It's like an 80s aesthetic. It's basically like if Plain White Tees were around in like 1985, is kind of what it's like. It's very fun and honest lyrics and everything. But just like with a synth, that 80s fucking synth bed. I don't know. I love. It's like almost like a passion project for me. But again, it's like I just want to create. I want to do stuff with music, and I want to try new things. And I'm just always inspired to just sit down and create stuff. So yeah, that's just the latest thing that I've been coming up with. So I've got an album I just put out on that name, Million Miler. So if anybody out there likes Plain White Tees or likes my music, you've got to check that out, because it's, like I said, it's super fun. You can dance to it, but you can still, it's still got the heart like Plain White Tees does.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to check it out. I should have done more homework on that and listen to it first. So I had something to say about it, but I should.
Dude, no worries.
But
yeah,
I'll
believe me,
check it out for sure.
It's very independent and underground. Not many people know about it yet, but I'm going to start doing some shows and stuff this winter. So start, again, it's almost like starting from scratch, where it's like, cool, I've got this new project that nobody knows, but I know it's fucking awesome. Just like I knew Plain White Tees was awesome when we started, so it's just a matter of like, working and chipping away at it and just watching it grow bigger and bigger. So yeah, it's like a fresh thing I'm doing. Million Miler.
Imagine a cup of coffee without the jitters, an edible without the sugar, a joint without the smoke. Just an energizing high that's all natural, no fuss. Go get a My High THC stir stick from getmyhigh.com right now. It will change your life. You're going to love it. And if you're just starting out with THC, or you're an experienced user, awesome either way. It's a lot better than all that terrible poisonous smoke in your lungs, and it's just kind of a healthy way to kind of relax and focus and however it works for you. So go to getmyhigh.com, link in the description, and get you some stir sticks.